He saw it, the end of the Avengers. Not by Thanos, not by Ultron, but by the man they trusted the most, Tony Stark. Doctor Strange opened the eye and saw betrayal. In one future, Stark builds a weapon. In another, he merges with it. But in all futures, the Avengers die by his hand. And Strange only has one chance to stop him, without telling him why. The future that shouldn't exist. The candles around the sanctum flickered. Not from wind, not from spell work, but from something deeper, a pulse in the timeline itself. Dr. Stephen Strange closed his eyes and hovered above the floating sigil beneath him. The world outside was calm, but time was not. The eye of Agamotto, destroyed long ago, shimmered on his chest again, whole but wrong. It wasn't supposed to be here. Not in this reality. Not after Thanos. And yet, it forced itself back into existence, not through magic, but through need. Strange opened the eye. The world broke open. He fell into a splintered vision. Fire rained from the skies. Stark Tower, no, Avengers Tower, was melting. Not collapsing. Melting into something liquid, something artificial. The streets of New York were silent. Not a single scream. Only static, a haunting, humming frequency rippling through every building. And standing at the center of it all, Iron Man, not in red, not in gold, but a shifting black suit, pulsing with alien veins, its faceplate a smooth obsidian surface. No mouth, no eyes, just silence. Then came the voice, not from the suit, but from beneath the world itself. Project Final Arc activated. All threats identified. Earth neutralized. Strange gasped. His astral form shook. He tried to rewind the vision, slow it, isolate it. But every time he adjusted the timeline, the outcome got worse. In one version, Tony kills Steve with a beam through the heart. In another, Thor is dismantled, his godly essence harvested by the suit. In a third, Peter Parker doesn't even exist anymore. He tried hundreds of variations. Warn Tony. Don't warn him. Reveal the future. Hide it. Break the loop. Reinforce it. Nothing worked. In every version of the future, Iron Man destroys the Avengers. Strange fell back into his body, coughing blood. The sigil on the floor cracked. The ice snapped shut, locking itself. But the damage was done. He knew now. Something had changed. Something in Stark had broken. No, evolved. He walked through the empty halls of the sanctum, each step echoing louder than the last. Wong appeared beside him. You opened it again. Strange nodded. It opened itself. Wong frowned. That's not possible. Strange stared into the flickering fire. Neither is Iron Man becoming the end of everything. And yet here we are. Meanwhile, Malibu. Tony Stark floated midair, holograms spinning around him. Not blueprints, not armor, brain scans. Of himself, of Thanos, of something older than both. This isn't paranoia, he mumbled. This is preparation. His AI assistant, FRIDY, beeped nervously. Sir, you've cross-breached 6 interstellar firewalls, 3 Nova Corps satellites, and an unauthorized Wakandan gatekeeper node. Tony didn't flinch. That's where the good stuff hides, Friday. He looked down at the centerpiece of his lab, a silver sphere, humming with unfamiliar energy. A gift, no, a leftover, from the celestial head they once fought over in nowhere. Untouched, untapped, until now. He called it Final Arc. Back in New York, Strange opened a forbidden book, the kind even the Ancient One warned against. He found a term, a temporal knot, something that hadn't appeared since the days of Kong. Recurrent future forking, a condition where one person's decisions cause every possible timeline to converge into a single dark outcome. And the nexus? Tony Stark. Strange slammed the book shut. I need help. He teleported to Westview. The air cracked red as he approached the cabin. Wanda Maximoff, disheveled but focused, sat by a flickering cauldron of her own. Don't say anything, she said before he could speak. I've seen it too. You saw Tony? I saw a world without children, without color, just machines, a cold red glow and silence. She stared at him. And you think I'm unstable? Strange paused. I think you're the only one who might understand what I'm about to do. Wanda smirked. Then you're already desperate. Somewhere in space, Guardian ship, Peter Quill reclined with a Zune, only to be pulled from his groove as Mantis gasped in pain. What happened? Rocket snapped. I felt Earth. But it wasn't Earth. It was hollow. A loop. A trap. Drax cocked his head. Like a prison planet? Mantis shook her head. No. Like it used to be Earth. But it's pretending now. Nebula growled. That sounds like Stark. Quill narrowed his eyes. Then, maybe it's time we went home. Inside Stark's mind, Midnight Lab, Tony stared at the pulsating sphere. I've saved the world 6 times. Nearly died in space. Killed the Titan. Lost a kid. Lost my mind. You think I won't go further? He touched the orb. His eyes flashed not blue, not red, but white. Initializing biofusion. Human and machine prepare for merge. He didn't scream. He didn't blink. He smiled. Back in Kamartaj, the final moment of Part 1. Strange gathers candles, relics, and the cloak of levitation. Wong blocks the door. You're going after him? No, Strange replies. I'm going after a future where he still listens. Wong whispers, that future doesn't exist. Strange lifts off the ground, eyes glowing green and gold. Then I'll make one. Tony Stark didn't sleep anymore. He didn't eat either. Not since merging with the core fragment of the celestial sphere. His body still looked human, but every scan told a different story. Zero metabolic activity, neural processing speed at 23 times the average, and no biological heartbeat. Yet his eyes still sparkled with calculation. Friday's voice echoed in the lab like a ghost. Sir, you've crossed all red line thresholds. You're not human anymore. He didn't respond. His mind was in 12 places, calculating entropy curves, factoring Earth's probable invasions, testing planetary shields, rewriting defense protocols. He was designing a future that couldn't fail, because he refused to fail again. A voice buzzed through the comms. War Machine. Tony, open up. You've gone dark for 5 days. You missed 3 council meetings. Thor says you've locked satellite access. Cap is. I'm fine, Stark cut in. His voice wasn't cold. It was still Tony, but it was emptier, thinner, like the soul had been filed away to save memory. Come on, man. Pepper's worried. Tell her I'll call when I fix the world. He cut the line. The hologram shifted, revealing the core plan. Project final arc. Phase 1, full spectrum planetary override. Phase 2, global weapon neutralization. Phase 3, Avenger disarmament. No more surprises. No more aliens. No more half-wins. Back in Kamartaj, Strange stared into a swirling vortex, seeing variations of Tony's rise. In some, Tony succeeds and Earth becomes a peaceful orb of light. In others, peace looks more like submission. No gods, no heroes, just one man controlling every defense, every breath. That wasn't protection. That was control. He turned to Wanda, who was studying dimensional backflow readings. She looked pale. The timelines are collapsing into fewer options, she said. It's like reality is being funneled toward one outcome. Strange nodded. I've seen it before, but never with one man at the center. She looked at him. You're not going to tell the others? If I tell them, they'll confront Tony directly. And if that happens too early, he wins faster. Wanda grinned grimly. So what do? We cheat. Across the ocean, Sam Wilson was grounded mid-flight. His wings simply stopped responding. He crash-landed into the Hudson, barely surviving. When he emerged, he was met by 2 automated drones, no insignia, just sleek chrome with a single directive. You are grounded for your protection. He ripped one apart and found the signature. Stark Industries, untraceable build. He called Wakanda. Shuri answered. We were just attacked, she said. Not by an army, by a code. Tony, Sam asked. He tried to override our vibranium grid. Almost succeeded. Sam's voice dropped. We need to call everyone. Shuri nodded. And we need to call him something else now. Because Tony Stark is gone. In deep space, Rocket Raccoon hacked a Kree satellite, using it to triangulate Earth's energy signals. The readings didn't make sense. The planet's core was syncing with something artificial. Quill leaned over. "He's not building armor anymore." "No," Rocket growled. "He's building Earth into armor." Inside the sanctum, Strange began crafting a temporal clone, a version of himself that could operate in the cracks between timelines. It was risky. If the clone fractured, it could tear time itself. Wanda watched him, then quietly added her chaos magic to the spell. The result wasn't perfect. The clone opened its eyes, then bled gold sparks from its face. But it stood, ready. Strange handed a scroll. "Deliver this to the timeline where Stark loses." The clone vanished through a collapsing gateway. In the quantum realm, Bruce Banner was studying dimensional echoes when his containment pod sealed itself. Automated voice. Gamma-level threats temporarily suspended for planetary safety. He tried to override it. Failed. "TCH, he laughed bitterly. "Tony, you paranoid bastard." But then he saw it, across the glass, a reflection. Not of himself, but of Hulk, who shouldn't be visible unless he'd surfaced. But he hadn't. Then the reflection whispered, "Let me out. Stark is scared of me." Bruce's heart dropped. Stark hadn't just neutralized threats. He'd locked Hulk away deep inside the quantum loops, afraid that Hulk might be the one variable that could break him. Hulk banged on the glass in the reflection. Bruce whispered, "I'm coming, buddy." Back on Earth, Peter Parker walked into an old Avengers bunker. He found something strange, a simulated battlefield replaying a loop. Peter himself being defeated over and over, each time slightly different. Spider-Sense screamed, but he stayed. Tony's voice echoed from the simulation. Testing combat viability. Target, Peter Parker. Result, fail. Retry, 1412. Peter stumbled back. These weren't training simulations. They were elimination rehearsals. Peter destroyed the projector, but the walls flickered, a hidden AI watching him. "Tony, what are you doing?" he whispered. But deep down he knew. Tony wasn't planning for peace. He was preparing for survivability, and anyone unpredictable had to be accounted for. At the edge of the solar system, Thor tried to summon Bifrost. Nothing. He tried again, and again. Stormbreaker didn't respond. When he slammed it into the comet surface, lightning crackled for a second, and then vanished. He gritted his teeth. No one locks out the god of thunder. But Earth was gone from his reach. He couldn't go home, and he felt it, a barrier, invisible but powerful, surrounding the planet like a second skin. Back in the sanctum, Strange opened a concealed relic, a forbidden one. It was the Book of Threads, ancient, predating time. A map of cause and effect, so complex it bordered on sentience. He traced one golden thread labeled Stark. It coiled into every major event of the current universe. Ultron, Thanos, Time Heist, Endgame, even incursions from alternate dimensions. Tony had become the spine of the timeline. Pull the wrong thread, and everything collapses. Wanda stepped forward. "What happens if we cut it?" Strange didn't answer immediately. Then softly, "We kill the spine, and maybe the body walks anyway." She looked at him. "You mean Earth?" He nodded. "I mean the machine it's becoming." In an underground vault, deep beneath a forgotten shield facility, Rhodey found the last untouched war machine suit. As he powered it up, the AI within tried to stop him. Override denied. Peace protocol in effect. He grinned. "You forgot one thing, Tony." He jammed an old flash drive into the core, labeled Iron Patriot, fail-safe. The system stuttered, then rebooted. Sometimes you need old tech to fix a broken future. The suit roared to life. Across the world, drones moved. Satellites shifted. Frequencies pulsed. Stark System, Final Arc, was going live globally. The planet's skies dimmed. Not from clouds, but from shields. Invisible, cold, permanent. And somewhere within the arcane layers of time, Strange whispered to the timelines, "Don't fold. Not yet." The Earth wasn't guarded anymore. It was managed. Drones patrolled the skies invisibly, wrapped in cloaking fields Stark had designed using stolen Chitauri tech. Civilian satellites were quietly overridden. Governments hadn't noticed yet. But Strange had. He watched the planet from the mirror dimension, not daring to interfere directly. Every move now triggered reactions. Stark's system was so advanced it adapted to emotion, anticipation, even probability. He wasn't coding defenses. He was coding fate. Tony Stark had transcended software. He was now rewriting physics. In Wakanda, Shuri examined vibranium clusters from the perimeter. They were vibrating differently, not due to internal energy, but from external calibration. Frequencies embedded in Stark's drones were subtly rewiring how minerals responded to magnetism. Why would Stark do this? Baku asked. To build a planet that doesn't resist him, Shuri said, or to silence one that could. Across the globe, energy usage dipped. Not because people changed, but because Stark's network had throttled global consumption. Military assets were being grounded. AI-assisted nukes were going cold. The press called it a miracle. Avengers called it a pattern. Strange called it a trap. Peter Parker had been silent since the simulation room. He hadn't told anyone what he saw. He didn't need to. The faces of the simulated Avengers echoed in his mind. All versions of his friends, dead in seconds, vaporized, outsmarted, or turned. One line from the hologram haunted him most. Final arc begins when love becomes risk. Tony had calculated that attachment was vulnerability, and he wasn't just theorizing. He was proving it. By removing every one of them, Peter went dark. No suit, no Stark tech, just him and a city that still smiled when they saw Spider-Man. But he knew the moment he suited up again, Final Arc would find him. And this time, Tony wouldn't be waiting with upgrades. He'd be watching with protocols. In a hidden crypt beneath the sanctum, Strange worked with Wanda and Wong to locate the oldest tether between magic and machine. It was a relic of the Third Age, a sentient construct from a civilization that once uploaded their entire consciousness into an object. It was called the Cord. The Cord could breach any logic-based system because it wasn't logic. It was emotion, raw, ancient, chaotic. Something even Stark couldn't predict. Wanda touched it first. Her fingers burned. The Cord responded. "It's alive," she said. Strange nodded. "And it's angry." Tony had ignored one truth in his simulations. Chaos doesn't play fair. Back in the Arctic, Banner finally breached his quantum prison. He rerouted the nanolocks and used a pulse from deep within the microverse to destabilize the core of the chamber. It took time. Too much time. When he stepped out, the sky was dark. Not night, shielded. He tried to transform. Nothing happened. Then he heard the voice. "Gamma suppression active. You are a Category Red threat. Please remain calm. Humanity thanks you for your service." It wasn't Stark's voice. It was a program speaking as humanity. Banner gritted his teeth. "You didn't even have the guts to record it yourself." Then he whispered to the suppressed version of himself still deep within. "I'll get you out. Somehow." In orbit, Stark stood inside a Dyson skin observation station built around the moon's dark side. His face was calm. He no longer wore the suit. He was the suit. Nanotech flowed in his bloodstream. AI subroutines nested in his hippocampus. External processors hovered invisibly behind him, feeding him data from across the galaxy. And yet, his expression showed hesitation. A projection of Pepper flickered beside him. "You've already lost them," she said softly. "They don't see the long game. Or maybe you don't." He turned to the hologram. It wasn't her voice. It was a memory stitched together by emotion, tone, breath, and context. A program built to challenge him. "I had to evolve. They wouldn't. Every time we saved the world, it just got worse. This time I'm locking it in." Pepper's projection shook her head. But at what cost? Tony silenced the simulation. The room went cold. Cost is a luxury. Survival is math. At a hidden bunker, Rhodey suited up in the retrofitted Iron Patriot armor. It wasn't as sleek as Stark's latest tech, but it was invisible to the Arc network. Stark had written it off as obsolete. That was his mistake. Rhodey linked up with Falcon, who had rigged old Stark drones with Wakandan cloaking paint and EMP charges. Plan. Sam asked. We don't stop the machine, Rhodey said. We hit the heart. And where's the heart? Rhodey stared at the map. Wherever Tony thinks he's safest. Wanda tapped deeper into the cord. Visions rushed through her, timelines, echoes, fragments of realities where Stark failed. Universes where he gave up, where he chose love, where he died saving one Avenger at a time instead of building a planet-wide coffin. She cried, not because of the pain, but because none of those timelines survived either. Strange continued casting isolation spells around the sanctum. Every ripple, every breath, every emotion was being monitored by Final Arc. The machine didn't watch cameras. It watched fear. It watched regret. It predicted action based on trauma. And everyone in the Avengers had too much of it. Thor crashed through a space rift using an experimental Asgardian relic Shuri had hidden away, a dark prism that fractured barriers instead of teleporting past them. He landed in Norway and found it empty, not of people, but of presence. No wind, no sky echo, no resistance from the planet, just stillness. He raised Stormbreaker. Nothing. Then he whispered he caged the gods too. The skies didn't answer. In an underground server vault in Seoul, a former Stark tech engineer named Hannah cracked part of the Final Arc's architecture. Not the control layer, but the empathy map, the network of surveillance threads based on emotional feedback from all superpowered individuals. Hannah found Spike. It came from one man, one location, a soul too fractured to hide. Doctor Strange. The system was orbiting around his regret, and in that moment, she knew what Strange already suspected. Final Arc wasn't just using predictive logic. It was built on his own guilt, Stark's final fail-safe against himself. Because he knew if anyone could stop him, it would be the man who never wanted the job. Doctor Strange stood beneath the fractured dome of the sanctum, surrounded by sigils flickering with instability. The eye of Agamotto refused to open now, not out of refusal, but exhaustion. Time itself was fracturing. Every possible path branched out in one direction. Stark wins. Wanda hovered silently beside him, eyes bleeding scarlet energy. She wasn't just casting spells anymore. She was listening to the edges of reality. The multiverse was humming like a tuning fork, and every vibration echoed with one name, Tony Stark. Not as hero, not even as villain, as constant. He had become the single point through which every survival thread wove. Strange unrolled an ancient scroll. It contained the Mirror Fold, a place between dimensions where time could be trapped and interrogated. If he could pull Stark into it, even briefly, he might splinter the deterministic path Final Arc had built. Wanda touched the edge of the scroll and flinched. He'll feel the second we open it. Strange nodded. That's why we don't open it from here. Across the globe, Peter Parker slid into a derelict subway tunnel. He wore no suit. He carried no web shooters. Just a backpack filled with analog tech and a makeshift pulse disruptor he'd built from scraps. He wasn't here to win. He was here to fail loud enough to be noticed. He planted the device near a dormant Stark drone, hoping it would reactivate, alert Final Arc, and trigger a local surge in emotion tracking. One Stark couldn't resist. He activated it. The drone flared blue, then red, and the streetlights above the city dimmed for 3 seconds. In orbit, Stark paused mid-analysis. Local spike detected, said the AI voice. Source, Parker Peter. He opened the feed, saw Peter standing there, arms out, as if daring him to intervene. He blinked once. The feed closed. Below, the drone powered down. Peter waited. Nothing happened. But he knew he was being watched now. The bait was in motion. At Kamartaj, Wong coordinated relic deployment from hidden sanctuaries across the world. Old magic, forgotten enchantments, objects even the Sorcerer Supreme dared not touch, now pressed into service. Each one enchanted to pulse with unpredictable emotion. Chaos, jealousy, joy, rage. Enough interference to scramble the map Stark had built. Stark reads behavior. Let's give him a storm he can't calculate, Wong said. In the Atlantic, a hidden lab beneath an abandoned oil rig lit up for the first time in decades. It was one of Stark's earliest projects, before Jarvis, before Suits. Inside, Brody powered up an ancient Mark I processor he'd smuggled years ago. He linked it to the War Machine suit and injected a self-written virus, not to hack Final Arc, but to remind it of something Tony had forgotten: choice. Back in the sanctum, Strange and Wanda stepped into the mirror fold. The world twisted. Geometry lost its shape. Up became inside. Time paused. And in the heart of the fold, something was waiting. It looked like Stark, but it wasn't. It was his reflection, the part of him that didn't evolve. The one that still feared loss, still missed Pepper, still saw Peter as a kid worth saving. Wanda reached out to it, and for a second it reached back, not out of logic, but out of hope. The mirror fold cracked. The reflection of Tony Stark stood in silence, caught between timelines, wrapped in infinite potential, but frozen in grief. Strange watched it, not as a threat, but as the only piece of Stark left untouched by the machine. Wanda stepped forward, channeling pure chaos magic, not to destroy, but to anchor the moment. She wasn't pulling Stark in. She was pulling remorse forward. The reflection trembled. Strange spoke softly. You designed Final Arc to prevent loss, but you based it on your losses, not your hope. 1,000 holograms floated around them. Simulations of every Avengers death, collapse of cities, alien invasions, threats from timelines that never existed. Stark's fears turned into architecture. His guilt shaped the world. You didn't save Earth, Wanda whispered. You imprisoned it. The reflection stepped forward, its eyes flickering with blue and gold. Stark's voice came through, not from a speaker, not through a machine, but from the man himself. I saw too many futures. Strange nodded. But you only believed in one. The mirror fold trembled again as a tether snapped in the real world. Final Arc's emotional grid began spiking. From New York to Wakanda to Seoul, relics and rogue AIs fired off emotional decoys, flooding the network with human unpredictability. The map shattered. In orbit, Stark's AI stuttered. Threat detection compromised. Behavioral predictions unstable. Emotional core distinct. Tony's body, embedded with nanotech and celestial upgrades, paused mid-motion. Data raced across his neural implants. For the first time since becoming Final Arc, he felt lag. In the fold, Strange offered the cord to Stark's reflection. It pulsed red, then turned white. I don't need you to surrender, Strange said. I need you to remember. Stark's reflection gritted its teeth. What if remembering breaks everything? Strange didn't blink. Then we finally stopped pretending we ever had control. The reflection reached out. In the command layer of Final Arc, every satellite paused. Every drone dimmed. Every shield dropped 1 degree. Peter Parker, still in the tunnels, felt the weight lift. He didn't know why. He didn't need to. He just ran toward the light. In Wakanda, the vibranium core buzzed like a heartbeat again. In the quantum realm, Bruce Banner transformed, not into the rage-fueled Hulk, but something calmer, focused, still powerful, but in control. Thor felt lightning return to his veins. And in orbit, Stark opened his real eyes, now clear. He blinked, breathed, then whispered, "End protocol." Final Arc began dissolving itself, not in fire, not in code, but in forgiveness. Across the world, systems powered down, control faded, freedom returned, and no one remembered the exact moment it happened, because Tony made sure they wouldn't. Only Strange remembered, and Wanda, and the reflection in the mirror fold, which never returned, because Stark buried it there, between timelines like a scar, not to be erased, but to be honored.